Mrs. Thomas pointed this particular one out to me, and I thought, let's do it. I thought the video was funny when I looked at it. Kamala Harris has a giggle factor associated with her when she says things, and sometimes the giggling is inappropriate. What I mean is, when she was doing those truancy videos where she was talking about the homeless mother who she was threatening with jail time, and that was somehow this kind of positive success story, and she's giggling her way through this. It's like, oh, that's gross, that's gross. You're talking about putting a homeless mother in prison. She's already barely making ends meet, and clearly her situation is not something that's ideal, seeing as the fact she's homeless. There seems to be other problems in that home that may be pushing the problems with the kids going to school. Nevertheless, giggling about it, if you're going to have a conversation about it, may not necessarily be the thing that gets that over to a public who's looking at what you're doing. Well, Kamala Harris is having a conversation on the Breakfast Club. Now, the Breakfast Club, I've watched this show. This show, they ask people sometimes interesting questions and go into interesting ways that typical talk shows don't necessarily go into. So, Kamala Harris is on the Breakfast Club. My wife asks, why on earth is she on that show? And the point I tried to make to her is, if you're running for president, there are all sorts of spheres of thought that go through a society. All of these small microcosms that make up the larger microcosm of our political landscape, or our countries at that point, the landscape of the individuals in the country. And you have to somehow reach all of these groups that are incomprehensible to you, groups that you can't fathom because of the situation, your status, and everything else in life. But you still have to reach those groups, and you have to get that message into those groups in a way that they believe it and that's dissectable. Part of that is appearing like a human being. Meaning, when people can relate to the individual that they're looking at, it ingratiates you to them in some way. You try to find all of these little ways to try to get your message into the various communities that make up this country. That's why she's on the show. She's trying to, A, look human, and in the process, get that message or whatever message she's trying to get across to the various constituencies. That video got like 112,000 views. It may be more at this point, which kind of gets across the point. This is their way of doing it. Some people do this in a more natural way. Ocasio-Cortez, for example, tends to be more natural when she does this stuff. It works for her. Some of these other politicians practiced authenticity, which kind of kills the point of authenticity. Nevertheless, she's on the Breakfast Show, and she's asked a question about marijuana. Now, she was a prosecutor, so the fact that they're asking this question, spot on. It's not arbitrary. You were a prosecutor locking up human beings, putting them in the cages when they decided to use any kind of illegal material, and in this case, marijuana. We heard you were against it. What are your thoughts on it? In which she gave this, I would say, it's cringeworthy answer, but an answer nonetheless. Let's take a look at the video. Kamala Harris evolves on marijuana. Like the prosecutor evolves on pot. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to show you when her conversion took place, by the way. I'm going to show you her conversion date. Conversion date in 2017, like a year ago, 2 years ago. Let's take a look at Kamala Harris's answer on the question of marijuana. Because, by the way, this is a red line for me, too. Just being clear. Locking up human beings in cages for smoking a plant is a red line for me. That's that grossly immoral. Grossly immoral. So let's see if we can widen this video. There we are. Oh, I'm sorry. 492,000 views. 492,000 views. You want to know why she's on the Breakfast Club? 492,000 views. Let's listen to her answer.
Also, and I know the answer to this too, they say you oppose legalizing weed.
That's not true.
I know.
and look, I joke about it, half joking. Half my family's from Jamaica. Are you kidding me?
They be so mad at you. Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like in
and
college,
I inhaled. I did inhale.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. But yes.
I know you have to go. They say you have to go.
I just broke news.
I mean, was it in college? See, I like stuff like that. That's a real honest answer. Was it a blunt or joint?
It was a joint.
Hey.
Yeah.
Do you remember the high?
I do.
So if it was legalized all throughout the country and medicinal, would you do it?
Listen, I think that it gives a lot of people joy, and we need more joy.
We need more joy in this world.
I think it gives more people joy. Yeah, it gives them joy. All right. That just, I don't know, man. Her answers always come across as phony to me. All right, so a few points. Kamala Harris evolves on marijuana. And he says, I heard people say that you're not for the legalization. That's not true. I am for the legalization. All right, let's interrogate that. So, she's from California. Let's go to a paper in California. Kamala Harris' evolution of marijuana gives a lot of people joy, but I have had concerns. All right, so right here, and they give the full interview. So now just read what she says. Harris was asked whether or not it's true that she opposes the legalization of marijuana for recreational use. That's not true. And look, I joke about it. Half of my family's from Jamaica. Are you kidding me? Oh God, that's racist. What about the other half of the family that's not from Jamaica? That other half of you is being racist. Just saying. I'm joking. Harris said on the Breakfast Club, a syndicated morning radio show. She added, no, I don't. No, I have concerns. Full record, I have had concerns, which, first of all, let me make this statement very clear. I think we need to legalize marijuana. Now, that being said, we need to research, which is one of the reasons why we need to legalize it. We need to move it to schedule so we can research the impact of weed on developing brains, as if this research has not been going on. The other reason is that we have to address how we're going to measure the impairment when somebody has been smoking weed in terms of driving, she added. Harris' remarks comes 4 weeks after her first-term U.S. Senator launch. Harris' remarks comes just 4 weeks after the first-term U.S. Senator launched her campaign to run for president on Martin Luther King's birthday. Yes. New York Magazine points out, however, that in 2010, Harris, like other top Democrats then, opposed the California ballot proposition to legalize recreational marijuana. There's more. At the time, Harris called Proposition 19 flawed public policy, according to a 2010 story on the Capital Weekly. In that same story, her campaign manager, Brian Brokaw, added, spending 2 decades in courtrooms, Harris believes that selling drugs or drug selling harms communities. Harris supports the legal use of medicinal marijuana, but does not support anything beyond that. There's more. In 2014, campaigning to be California's Attorney General, Harris laughed off the idea of legalization of recreational marijuana. It was funny to her. These people being put in cages for smoking plants. After her Republican opponent, Ron Gold, said he was in favor of legalizing marijuana for recreational use in California, Sacramento-based station KCRA-TV asked Harris her thoughts. He's entitled to his opinion, Harris said, before letting out a laugh. Again, the giggle factor. By 2017, her position on marijuana was becoming clearer. Clearer. That's one way to call it. In one tweet thread, Harris said, while I don't believe in legalizing all drugs, most people don't. That's not saying much. We need to do the smart thing, the right thing, and finally decriminalize marijuana. In 2018, Harris' position had become decidedly pro-legalization. 2017 and 2018. Now, you can believe that she evolved remarkably that fast within that period of time, 2017, 2018. Forgive my cynicism here. Harris knew that she was not going to be able to get through a Democratic primary running as against legalization of marijuana. You can't do it. The majority of Democrats are for the legalization of marijuana. And when you're trying to get through the primaries, especially through the primaries, where you're talking about the base of the Democratic Party, good luck trying to get through it with a prosecutor's mentality on marijuana. Good luck. You wouldn't be able to do it. The moderation in her position is being bent into form due to political pressure, where she understands that for her to get from point A to point B, she needs to take on a position that she may not necessarily believe in. Is it possible that she's evolved on marijuana? Yes, it's possible. I can't see into her thoughts. And because I can't see into her thoughts, I'm stuck with the objective reality. And what I know is she was against it going all the way back to like 2014. It just so happened she's going to run for president. I'm pretty sure she knows she's going to run for president a year before she runs for president. And her position moderates to the point of, I am pro-weed. I am pro-legalization. I even smoked a joint. I even smoked a joint. It's funny. It's all funny. Locking people up and putting them in cages. I love the giggle factor. Nevertheless, you're stuck in the unenviable position of making a determination on whether or not you believe Kamala Harris or not. I, for one, do not. So, I understand the evolution on this. Forgive my skepticism about this level of evolution within the course of a couple of years. Just saying. All right. Good. This one was 11 minutes. Let's see. Come on. Flip. Here we are. Trudy. Such. Kamala Harris is a chameleon. Yes, she is a chameleon. She takes on form, whatever she needs to take on. Essentially Hillary Clinton. Such a liar. Sucker. Yeah, Hillary. I don't believe this at all. And not to mention, not only do I not believe it, I don't have to believe it. Like, this is not my candidate. This candidate is nothingness. It's an empty suit. What the hell does Kamala Harris stand for? Kamala Harris stands for whatever she thinks is going to get her from point A to point B. In this case, that point A to point B deals on issues of legalization of marijuana. Same thing with Medicare for all. You have to believe that the people are going to believe this stuff. The political dialogue and debate that's been taking place is shaped by Sanders. We are living in the world of Sanders. Meaning the lefty stuff that was left under the cupboard, that nobody paid attention to, that was in a bin of misfit toys. That stuff has come out to play into Rome and has taken a certain center stage. That even though it hasn't necessarily taken power where it can control the levels of power per se in a direct sense, people who are trying to get from point A to point B within the primary system has to go through those doors. Meaning the conversation is being held within those terms from the standpoint of the left. Catches, do they believe it? The majority of them don't. At least I don't believe they do. But you have a few that you can conceivably say do. My horse is Sanders. Sanders is a true believer of this stuff. Do you honestly believe that the prosecutor who used to lock people up for the same thing has evolved within the course of a couple of years? It's possible. Do I believe it? No, I don't. Just saying. All right. I think I have one more that I want to do this. Justin M. I totally trust the prosecutor to be in favor of legalized pot as much as I trust a crackhead with my wallet. That's hilarious. I love that. That's hilarious. As much as I trust a crackhead with my wallet. Jamal covered Nomiki Kant's DNC shill. Oh, God, DNC shill. Well, you know, she's running for something in New York. What is it? New York? I don't know the name of it. I can't think of the name of it. But she's running for some position in New York that's supposed to hold people accountable. Fred Edwards. Kamala Harris lied. Smoked pot in college. Listened to Tupac and Snoop. Kamala graduated in 1989. Tupac in 1991. Debut. Snoop Dogg 1993. For fuck's sake. She's pandering. This is kind of my point. She's pandering. Public advocate. That's it. Public advocate. Fucking prosecutor lying about smoking pot. Ultimate hypocrisy. I just want to slap her in her lying mouth. Oh, Trudy, the balance. That's hilarious. Nomiki is cool, I thought. I don't hate Nomiki. I think Nomiki is fine. I think his point is she's a DNC shill. Jimmy just gave Nomiki another softball interview, and he did so far months ago, too. They're not on opposite sides, man. Like, let's be honest. Let's be very, very honest. Extraordinarily honest. You can dislike an individual, and yet they say something that you agree with. Is that fair? You can even dislike the organization that a person is associated with, simultaneously having many of the same objectives in mind. I think that's fair, and I think that's relatively true. If the majority of my objectives a person agrees with, even if it's not necessarily the same lengths, don't get me wrong, there's a subjectivity in there to the degree to which you're willing to accept or reject something. Meaning, there are large-scale red lines, but there's also stuff within the margins that people disagree on whether or not it's okay or not okay. Nomi, I think I call her Nomiki, but Nomi, or let's just say Const. Much of the stuff that you push for, she's on board with. Like, I understand she's associated with the DNC in this case. People organize themselves in certain ways that they think, they were born a particular way. They grow up a particular way. It's all they know. I'm not going to ding her just for being her, if that makes sense. I ding her if she's pushing something. Nomiki. Yeah, no, right. No. But I feel you. I understand there's some dislike for her in this case. I think a revolution is beginning in the party. Trudy, I think there's the budding of an organized front against what was considered to be the normal talking points within the party. That's what I think, Trudy. We may be saying the same thing, but it does seem like an argument is taking place that the current rate in which the party has been going is wrong, and it needs to fundamentally change. Meaning what's considered the center is massively off kilter with the reality of what the people in the party wants. I think you're seeing this in the standpoint of the candidates who are running because they feel like they have to toe a particular line that, honestly, they're in poor form to take that shape. And this deals with the debate that takes place on the left and the debate in the areas that they feel they need to go to in order to exceed the primaries. Trudy, I guess my point is, yeah, there does seem to be a change in the dialogue that's taking place, or what's necessary in order to exceed within the Democratic Party. I don't want to say a revolution is taking place in the party. For some reason, that feels too strong. But it does seem like something is welling up where it's trying to push against a different tide. They feel like they have to take a particular task or take a shape in order to get through. I'm surprised that 99% of the comments on Dora's interview with Nomi is drooling on how great she is. So I cannot like Jamarl. Okay, I don't know what I did to you, but fair enough. Well, I think we need a revolution. Depends on what you mean by revolution. I agree with you on revolution, yes. But what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, these words. Does that mean shooting cops? That's a revolution. There you go. Ignoring the fact, saying that the sovereign doesn't necessarily have power in this process, and I'm going to push back on the balance. Does it mean a political revolution where you're talking about a change in the hegemonic ideas that push on? Yes, I can agree with that. Full stop. Agree with that. It depends on what you mean by revolution. It's just these words without, all revolutions are revolutions of the mind, or at the very least they start their order of chaos. Yes, I agree. Revolutions take place in public and the citizens of the world. There is some overflow in the political parties. I think the political parties try to catch up with what is taking place, and so they try to take on whatever form they think the public wants to support without giving anything. Like, how much can we get without having to give? That type of stuff, as opposed to a full-throated acceptance of a political reform. Yeah, they push back on that. They definitely push back on that. The Beatles, they say you want a revolution. All right, I'm gonna end this. This video wasn't meant to be long, and we've gone for like 20 minutes. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But whatever. She says she's evolving on marijuana. Welcome home. Welcome to the party. I guess you could say welcome to the party. But no, I don't believe her. It's like if somebody It's like, would you ever invite a cop to a party where you know people are going to be smoking pot, even if you think if the cop says, "Nah, man, I'm cool, dog. I'm cool. You can trust me." Good luck on that front. Good luck on that front. Oh, did you see that CNN is giving Schultz a town hall? No way! Oh, no fucking way. Anthony Reyes, did you see that CNN is giving Schultz a town hall? That's amazing. That's amazing. Are you serious? He didn't even announce. He didn't even announce. Like, he didn't he didn't even announce. Isn't that great? All you have to do is have money. If you have $1 billion, you can get a town hall from CNN. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Guys, if you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support the PayPal or Patreon. That is sad, sad, sad that they're giving him a town hall. CNN keeps getting worse and worse. My God. And I'm going to end it on that, Edward Klein. CNN keeps getting worse and worse. My God. My God. This painstaking cry of desperation. My God. Thanks all.